perfectionist. It's because of him and his ilk that Britain became the workshop of the world. But he never forgave the government for rejecting his brilliant rifle. He even moved into offices opposite the Ordnance Board, from where he would spend hours and hours glowering at the Philistines across the road who'd committed the terrible crime of rejecting him. Unlike so many inventors who changed the world, Whitworth did become rich. His factories were successful. And I'm delighted to say, because I really do like the sound of this guy, eventually he even managed to find a market for his guns. In America, Confederate snipers snapped up Whitworth's rifle, and as a result, we've been left with what I think is one of the greatest quotes in military history. A Unionist chap called General Sedgwick said to his troops, "What are you keeping your heads down for? They couldn't hit an elephant at this dis." But it wasn't just the generals who died on the battlefields of the American Civil War. Rifles that could kill from a distance completely changed the nature of warfare. This new technology mixed with traditional battlefield techniques spelled disaster for the troops on both sides. At Agincourt, with its cannons and longbows, 6,400 were killed. But on one day in the American Civil War, 26,000 men died. And things were about to get worse. Until this point, guns and cannons could only fire one shot at a time. You loaded, fired, and then reloaded. But that was about to change. The 19th century pioneers pushing across America were outnumbered by hordes of Red Indians. The cowboys put up a fight, but to begin with, they were losing. The Indians could fire off 20 arrows before the frontiersmen could reload their rifles even once. Faced with these odds, the cowboys needed a gun that could be fired repeatedly without being reloaded. A revolver. These days, the fastest guns in the West are shooting balloons in a car park. Chuck from accounts does battle with Brad and Wilbur from marketing. There is, though, one thing that does link them to their fantasies of the OK Corral. The gun they're firing.
When you're fighting the bad guy and the Indians, and it's your life on the line, you want the best you can get your hands on. I've never shot a single action gun that I like better than a Colt.
The Colt was the first reliable multi-shot gun, 6 shots in as many seconds. This new gun killed more Indians than cholera. The Colt was credited with being the gun that won the West. That led to the states being united, and that ultimately gave the world a new superpower. Set. But the man who invented the fastest gun in the West was nothing more than an East Coast businessman.
Got a miss on one.
Samuel Colt was born in Hartford, Connecticut in 1814. He's revered by the Americans as being one of their great inventors, but he was actually a rip-off merchant and a show-off. When he was 20, he set himself up as the celebrated Dr. Colt of New York, London and Calcutta, and toured Canada and the US, giving a grateful public a taste for soft drugs.
You sir, pump some this and you'll be laughing guaranteed.
His laughing gas shows, however, weren't just for fun. The money allowed him to pursue another interest. He would pay a local gunsmith to produce the first of his prototype revolvers. Wouldn't be the last time that drugs money paid for firearms.
Yeah! I got you!
The story goes that Colt came up with his idea for a revolver while serving as a cabin boy on sailing ships.
The concept of the revolving cylinder, Sam got that when he was out on a ship as a sailor. The capstan to weigh the anchor, to bring the anchor up or down, is based on a ratchet. There's a rotating head, and inside there's a mechanism. As they turn it, we'll lock it into place, we'll turn it, and we'll click it to lock it in. He saw that, and at 16 years old, his mind was inventing. He took that concept with a piece of wood and a penknife and carved the cylinder and this ratchet concept to work a revolving cylinder.
Well, that's what they say. However, it's known that while he was away, Colt visited England, where it's more than likely he would have gone to the Tower of London and seen a gun with a revolving cylinder made by a British chap called Mr. Puckle. The Puckle gun had multiple bullets arranged in a revolving cylinder, and crucially, it could be fired repeatedly without reloading. So, another British invention that was developed overseas. To be fair, Colt was good at marketing and used the cult of his own celebrity to shift his product.
He was able to take his guns and bring them all over the world. He gave away over 2,000 guns to dignitaries and presidents, heads of state, to promote his gun, his concept, and bring back contracts, bring back more work for Colt Firearms.
It's said that Abraham Lincoln freed all men, but it was Sam Colt who made them equal.